Welcome to this explainer. Right now, every single day there is a silent war being fought. And the crazy thing is, the prize isn't money, it's not fame, it's actually your own mind. So today, we're going to unlock 15 absolutely powerful psychological tips to help you quiet that inner chaos and finally take back control. Let's get into it.
So I gotta ask, who is really driving the car of your life? Are you actually the one making the choices, or are those sudden moods, those kind of toxic habits, and fleeting impulses secretly pulling the strings? I mean, most of us think we're completely in the driver's seat, right? That is, until we realize we can't even stop doom scrolling on our phones for 10 minutes without breaking a sweat. Sound familiar? Well, let's change that.
Okay, here's our roadmap for today. We're breaking this down into 5 core phases: taming impulses, guarding mental gates, mastering dialogue, forging self-discipline, and finally, healing and peace. This is your playbook.
All right, phase 1, taming impulses and desires. It's time to take control.
We are constantly, and I mean constantly, lured by temporary pleasure. Think about it. Mindless scrolling, deciding it's a great idea to message a toxic ex at 2 a.m., or just stress eating a mountain of junk food. Sure, these things offer a super quick dopamine hit, but an hour later, that emptiness comes right back. Sacrificing your future self for a quick rush today is a classic trap. Real mental mastery begins the moment you embrace delayed gratification. It's all about learning to say no to what's incredibly easy right now so you can say yes to a totally regret-free future.
Here's a massive game changer for you. When a wave of absolute anger strikes, I want you to remember the rule of 5. Just take a deep breath and count slowly to 5. You see, you have a highly evolved brain for a reason. You don't have to just react on instinct like a cornered animal. You can actually choose to respond with ancient wisdom. This perfectly highlights the difference. Most people just mirror whatever happens to them. Someone insults them, they immediately shout back, acting purely on ego. But true intelligence, that's the ability to observe a burning emotion without letting it burn down your whole house. Look at it this way. Your mind is the vehicle, and your emotions are just the passengers. And you should never, ever let a passenger drive the car. So next time, just ask yourself, is my reaction actually fixing this situation, or is it just satisfying my ego?
Moving right along to phase 2, guarding your mental gates. We have to protect what goes in.
Your 5 senses, your eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. These are the literal gateways to your subconscious mind. Imagine your mind as this incredibly pristine garden. Are you letting in poison? Things like hyperviolent media, toxic office gossip, or even processed food that leaves your brain super foggy? Because if you're constantly feeding your senses poison, your mind literally cannot bloom. It's impossible. Try swapping out those toxins for real nourishment. Give yourself some clean silence. Put on a really transformative podcast, or just focus on clean eating. It makes a world of difference.
Now remember this, your past is a school. It's not a prison sentence. Yet so many of us spend our lives flipping through the absolute darkest pages of our mental photo albums, right? We just relive old pain and failures every single day. And when you do that, you're forcing your physical body to literally relive that exact pain all over again. But hey, you are the editor of this album. Stop rereading those chapters where things went wrong. Why skip the pages where you showed incredible resilience? Start focusing on the times you smiled through the tears and managed to stand back up.
Think of your brain like a smartphone, and your daily thoughts are the apps. If you don't actively run your own software updates, society and algorithms are going to gladly install a bunch of negative junk apps for you. You need deliberate, positive daily updates. This is what we call auto-suggestions. Every single morning, you need to declare your reality. Say it out loud. I am calm in the middle of chaos. My mind obeys me. It sounds simple, but repetition is the ultimate mother of belief.
Okay, phase 3, mastering your inner dialogue. Let's get that inner voice working for you, not against you.
Listen, suppressing your emotions is literally like shaking a soda bottle. Eventually, it is going to explode everywhere. Instead, try treating your emotions as raw data. Anger, that's just a clear signal that a personal boundary has been crossed. Fear simply means some part of your life requires urgent preparation. And sadness, that's just a sign your soul is asking for some deep healing. The moment you actually sit down with an emotion and name it as data, that's the moment you can finally tame it.
We've all heard the saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And it is so true. Even if you have ironclad willpower,
Toxic environments act like this slow, invisible leak on your potential. They just drain your mental energy day by day until you actually start doubting yourself. Honestly, you cannot live a high-value, positive life if you're constantly surrounded by people who just feed on drama and excuses. You have to fiercely protect your inner circle and surround yourself with builders and innovators.
This brings us to phase 4, forging unshakable self-discipline. This is where we build real resilience.
30 minutes. That's it. That is the ultimate cure for the exhausted, wild monkey brain we all get. Look, multitasking is a massive psychological myth. When you try to study, while checking notifications, while watching TV in the background, your brain completely fractures its energy. Instead, you've got to try the single task rule. Set a timer for 30 minutes, literally bury your phone in another room, and dive into one single objective. True mental power is exactly like a laser beam. It only cuts through when it's perfectly focused.
Now, even when you're in deep focus, those negative thoughts can totally still pop up. Our minds are nonstop thought factories. But here's the secret. Just because you think a thought doesn't actually mean it's true. So when that anxious voice starts telling you that everyone is going to judge you, stop and ask yourself, is this 100% true? Start cross-examining those negative thoughts like a ruthless warrior in a courtroom, instead of just submitting to them. When you start demanding hard evidence, I promise you, anxiety completely loses its grip.
As the legendary Buddha once said, the mind is everything. What you think, you become. And science backs this up. Your brain actually struggles to tell the difference between a really vivid imagination and actual reality. So when you vividly visualize your goals every morning, literally seeing yourself acting with absolute confidence, your nervous system primes itself to make that real. When you combine that with setting crystal clear morning intentions, like deciding I'm going to remain peaceful today no matter what happens, you build an absolutely unshakable psychological compass.
This right here is key. Discipline is genuinely the ultimate form of self-love. Motivation? Well, motivation is just a fair-weather friend. It totally bails on you the absolute second things get difficult, cold, or dark. But true discipline, that means doing what needs to be done even when every emotion in your body is screaming, I don't feel like it. Every single time you choose that healthy meal over the junk food or you actually get out of bed on that first alarm, you're winning a micro-war. You are building this deep, unshakable trust with yourself.
And finally, phase 5. Healing and finding peace. It's time to anchor ourselves back in reality.
Have you ever eaten your absolute favorite meal, but you barely tasted a single bite because you were just obsessing over some past argument? That is the definition of being physically alive, but totally mentally absent. Mindfulness is the beautiful, simple art of coming home to the present moment. Pulling your mind out of the dead past and out of the unwritten future is literally the only way to find true peace. So, when you walk, actually feel the ground beneath your feet. When you drink water, really feel the coolness in your throat. Just be here now.
Now, while mindfulness changes how you live on the outside, meditation is how you clean your soul on the inside. And no, you absolutely do not need to go sit cross-legged on a mountain for 3 hours. Literally just 5 minutes of sitting completely still and focusing on your breath can completely transform your neural pathways. Don't fight the rushing thoughts. That's a losing battle. Just observe them pass by like clouds in the sky, and gently, slowly, return your attention right back to your breath.
Okay, we've saved probably the most profound emotional secret for last: dual journaling. Please do not let your emotional storms just rot inside of you. Grab a notebook and follow these 2 simple steps. First, write your pain. Be incredibly raw, be completely honest until your chest finally feels light. But then, and this is crucial, immediately switch gears and write your power. Write down the hard lessons you extracted from that pain and lay out your definitive next steps. By doing this, you instantly transition from being just a passive character in a tragic play to becoming the actual author rewriting your destiny.
Before we wrap up, I just want to step away from the tips for a second and speak directly to you. I know life can feel incredibly heavy sometimes, and there are days you probably feel totally exhausted or entirely misunderstood. But just look at how much you've already survived to get to this point. You are actively seeking growth right now, and that means the fire inside you hasn't gone out. Take a deep breath with me. Your story is far from over. So the real question is, how will you write your next chapter? Trust the process, master your mind, and watch how the world begins to bow to your inner peace. Keep going, and I will see you in the next explainer.